So let's start with the Telegraph. And the Met Police has apologised for their officer calling a man openly Jewish, and now they've apologised for the apology in some kind of Russian doll's virtue-signalling nightmare.
Yeah, that's right. The Met Chief is urged to resign over treatment of Jews. He's got several families of them in his basement. He's been maltreated. No, he hasn't. He's basically, it's this openly Jewish comment. So a police officer, as we saw in the news report that was just on, police officer stopped a Jewish man who was on the streets of London. Obviously, there are sort of anti-Israel protests going on, so that man was out there just existing on the streets of London, which is apparently a borderline criminal offence now. If you're Jewish, the police officer said he was risking arrest because he was openly Jewish, and that could inflame tensions or whatever. And the police apologised for the use of the term openly Jewish because it's not 1937 Germany. So they apologised for that. But then also in the apology they did some sort of victim blaming where they said those who were opposed to the protest must know that their presence is provocative and we're increasing the likelihood of an altercation. So yes, they're basically saying, stay inside, you're not allowed to go in the streets. I mean, ideally this should be a massive wake-up call to the establishment, as if we haven't had enough massive wake-up calls that we've got mob rule on the streets of London. The police are there to keep the peace. They can't keep the peace, but we've got these massive mobs that they fear will attack Jews if they see them.
It is a wake-up call, because what it does is it tells people it's not just Israel. They go, it's just Israel, but it's really Jews. But the truth is that two board boys. This guy was insane. He was insane for going out there. He knew fully well he was risking everything. He's like one of those mice who've been infected by that cat
parasite.
Yes, and where the mice loses the fear of cats.
But I think he was making,
That's a very good example.
Analogy, although it is a kind of victim blaming.
No, it isn't. I'm saying that he's
not mad. He's not, lost control of his senses. He's making a stand. He's saying, look, these streets are for everyone, and they should be for everyone. You should, if you're Jewish. I can't believe I'm having to say this. If you're Jewish, you should be allowed to walk down the street in London.
Lewis, you have to disagree for balance.
I disagree with you, because it is provocative.
People don't agree.
That's what he's doing. He's being provocative. Let's say he's not suffering from this toxomycosis, whatever it is. He's being reckless with his own life to prove a point. Who is he, Josh Howie?
Even if that's true, it's up to him. And then if he got attacked, the police will obviously intervene. But you can't arrest people to protect them. We have a narco-tyranny now. Innocent people are arrested. The actual baying mob are allowed to do what they want. Yeah. And I understand the police were defensive about this. Police tend to stick together. They're under attack a lot. They have low resources. And they've written this awful apology where it's a little bit like, well, it's not really our fault sort of thing. And then they've written a second one going, oh, soz. But the problem is, it's actually impossible for the police because they're just following what the regime wants. That's what they do, right? They follow orders. And if you look at the powers that be, they seem to be pro-Palestine and they seem to run things according to this anarcho-tyranny principle, whether deliberately or due to incompetence. Yeah. And the police are just following that,
Yes, and this guy, can I agree with you, Leo? And I agree with you. It's an act of bravery to expose the police, because what the police are saying is those Palestinian demonstrators are dangerous.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And honestly, Nazis must be looking at these protests and saying, who does their PR? Yeah. Like, if this was a mob of neo-Nazis with the same, presenting the same kind of danger to Jewish people, I think they'd be shut down very quickly.
And lastly, there was just one weird claim that the police made as well. They said that the fact that they're filming it means they know that it's going to kick off. Not necessarily. You could just be filming from any number of reasons. Anyway, that bothered me.